Are we recording? This is That Was Not Very Raven of You, here with week number 25 of your weekly writing challenge. Last week I asked you guys to write me a sci-fi story with a non-human character, and I loved reading the stories from this week. They were so creative and so interesting, and I picked just a few to highlight for you this week. The first one I want to talk about is called Acolyte Down by Thomas Arkham. It's this really tense space thriller that sort of descends into this very delicate, very human story. I don't want to spoil it for you, but here is a short piece. The waters of creation are cold, even through my suit. They hum with electricity, snapping and biting at the conductors on my gloves and chest. I cough harshly, the foreign sensation of creation wreaking havoc on my body. The next one I want to mention is Banished by Lily J. I loved this piece. It's like a short little story about a human who's sort of like an envoy between, humanity and this new planet. Here's a piece. The ears raised another haughty centimeter. Oh dear, I really had offended her. Some prize groveling was in order if I ever hoped to save this situation. I dropped my gaze and did my best to induce my ears to lower even a millimeter. I had trained for months in an attempt to encourage my ears to behave appropriately for Arctica *1, but I found I could only ever raise them. Human ears just weren't built for moving far. The next one I wanted to highlight is Stranger Than Fiction by Roswell Gray. I love this. It was a really funny little piece about a woman who has a strange encounter with a sticky-fingered visitor from another world. I stand in the hallway, just out of sight of the door. There's a thump and the susurrus of flour pouring onto the floor from a ruptured paper bag. I'm hoping for raccoons, worrying it's another human, and scared to death it's a bear. I take a deep breath and reach out my hand, flicking on the light as fast as I can while I jump into the kitchen. And the last piece I want to highlight for you is Nice by Fred Watford. This is a tense, tight little sci-fi piece that takes place during an interrogation, and it's just perfectly written. I love it. The white, sterile walls and unforgiving fluorescent lights are incongruous with the clouds of gray smoke escaping the man sitting across the metal table. His chiseled face of hard-earned wrinkles mostly chews on a cigar that somehow fails to get a single ash on his perfectly squared-away uniform. Well guys, this is my last week with you. I'm really gonna miss doing these challenges, but I am gonna leave you in the very capable hands of your next curator for the month, the Serpent the Charmer.
What's up, everybody? I am the Serpent the Charmer, but you can just call me Brandon. And before we get into the meat and potatoes of my challenge, I would like to give a big shout out to That Was Not Very Raven of You for guest curating last month. She gave us a ton of fantastic prompts. Without further ado, let's move on to my first challenge. American author Charlie Jane Anders once said, "Live every day as if you've come back in time from a dystopian future to try and prevent everything from breaking." Let's write about that. Write a time travel story about a character or a set of characters returning to the present day to stop a dystopian and or apocalyptic future from happening. It could be a masked vigilante coming back to stop a scientist from building a bomb, or it could be someone who believes in chaos theory traveling back in time to stop a butterfly from flapping its wings, something like that. It's really up to you. Another way to do this, however, is to reverse the angle, and maybe your character or characters are coming back in time to ensure that such a horrifying future will happen. This could be for personal gain, sick pleasure, I don't know. Either way, you need to have your contributions into the collaboration by the end of the day, Monday, April 6th. That's all for this week. Thanks again.